Good day, global crypto enthusiasts. This is 88 Fantastic coming to you Wednesday, September 18th, 2019. Well, what do we have today? Could we actually call an alt season? This might mark, I can't, I even tried to look backwards. The first time in how long Bitcoin has stayed stale and alternative coins have actually gotten some love. It's literally the first time, probably since March, all the way back into March, where we've seen actually the money being spread out, other than just being taken out of Bitcoin and Ethereum and put back into Bitcoin. Now we see everything going back into everything for the first time in an awfully long time. So what do we see here today? We see Bitcoin sitting at a current price of 10,191 with a day low of 10,131 and a day high of 10,300. And as you can see there, it looks really volatile, but really when you're going from 10,150 to 10,300, $150 back and forth, really nice. Showing really solid progress in the market itself. And again, if you go back a few months, you would have seen Bitcoin really going between $1,000 to $1,200 back and forth on a daily basis itself. So what do we got over here? Let's check out our market. And as we've been talking about on the channel since we started this channel in January, is we've been waiting for September long weekend to finally end, and that was our magic marker. All the pieces of the puzzles finally starting to come together after this 2-year market, and now we can see right here, here's our date, September 11th, September 12th. There was our bottom, and what we were hoping for is right after September long weekend, that 1 week after, that we were going to finally see every pullback met with stronger resistance, and that's exactly what we've seen. As you can see on the chart here for our last 2 weeks, every time there's been a sell-off, the market's actually gotten stronger and stronger and stronger. So we're sitting at just about 272 billion right now. So the next time they pull back, we're hoping it doesn't dip below, probably between this 267 mark and this if we can hold between 267 270, that means we're still getting stronger and stronger. And again, why have I always said since January of 2019, why September long weekend? Because for me, the market itself really didn't start until October of 2017, when Bitcoin itself started to get social media and everything else started to get social media, and YouTubers were doing crypto. And again, from idea in your head to become an actual business product to be sold to another human being with all of its proper paperwork, generally takes about 2 to a maximum of about 3 years. So that's why I always say the market itself really, crypto itself hasn't really started until October of 2017. So it's really nice to see that we basically waited for that time period of September long weekend all year and figured that would be the moving market for this cryptocurrency market to really start to get going. And as we can see, that's what's happening right now, little by little. But you know what? Little by little sideways up is still better than little by little getting bludgeoned sideways down like we saw in June, July, and August. So let's have a looky and who's actually getting some love. This will be really interesting to see. So now we're going to let's just look at our last 7 days here, and we'll see what's been going on here. We'll just do the top 50 today, because look at everybody's going to be one way or the other. So in the last 14 days, Bitcoin's gone backwards 4%, and now we've seen a ton of coins get some love. In the last 3 months, what we've been watching is even when Bitcoin's been going up, everybody else has been going backwards. And when Bitcoin went backwards, everybody else went really backwards, right? So now as we can see here, excuse me, we'll just scroll down, and obviously everything's going to pop out. We'll just do our top 50 today. But I mean, you look at ETH was really stuck in that 180, 185 range. Really nice to see. Ripple as well, getting some love with all of the turmoil and crazy news that's been going through over the last 6 months. It's gotten some really nice reaction from the community there. Litecoin also, EOS as well. Let's just keep going down the list. Stellar. Here's the one I really looked at today. After 9 months, you know what? If you're somebody that's held Stellar, I mean, you're probably still down, but you know what? Give yourself a pat in the back. For 9 consecutive months, Stellar was treated like that freckle-faced step kid that you married into and you can't stand him, and he's kicked off into the corner. For 9 months, Stellar has taken an absolute beating. And at least in these last 24 hours to 14 days, it's actually gotten some love. Cardano at 16, even Tron at 16, still going. Huobi token, again, the one we've talked about the entire year as the one that's going to take out Binance at some point here in the next 18 months to 2 years, really starting, still maintaining its dominance. It's catching right up there. When we started talking about Huobi token, it was literally in that $1.25 to $1.30 range, right way down in that 60 to 70 range. And I still firmly believe at some point, before we hit 2021, Huobi token will take over Binance as the number one exchange overall anywhere. So let's keep cruising. Just nice to see, 15, 19, 20, 25%. Cosmos at 62%. We'll just keep cruising down the line here. Look at them all, double digits. Some of them are in the red, but still very nice to see. Here was that mystery token that showed up into the top 100 a couple weeks ago, minus 29%. Just keep cruising along here. But again, very nice to see that it's actually spread out. It's not 100% green. It's not 100% red. It's more of about a 70-30 mix mash of everything right here, right now. So really nice to see. I personally didn't expect to see altcoins getting any love with Bitcoin staying stale or going backwards, as we've seen in the last 3 months, like we've talked about, when they were taking out of, everybody was panic selling out of their old altcoins and putting it back into Bitcoin, right? All right, so now let's get on to some. I really looked for some crazy articles here for you guys, but other than maybe two, they're really not a whole bunch here. So here's one that I wanted to show you because I'm going to slam this one here. The company Zynga doing some more stuff on the blockchain here. Launches spellbinding new puzzle adventure game Merge Magic. Again, I love the games that they put out, but what I'm going to tell you guys straight up, don't ever spend a single dollar with Zynga. Ever. Don't spend it for gold or reward points or whatever you're looking for. Just play the game for free. Why do I say that? When I go through my faucets, and again, when you play a game from Zynga like I did in years ago, used to call Mafia Wars, I was running 5, 6, 7 accounts myself. I knew people in groups that were running 20 accounts. And after 9 years, and they had this game up to 50 million people daily playing, they give you a month's notice, and they scrap the game after 9 years of bleeding people for money out of their to buy points and buy games. Now that they're on the blockchain, it's like there's something again. So, anyways, let's go back and look at our articles. Just wanted to say, just be careful, play the games, but don't spend any money on it. Over at CoinDesk.com, Ether, XRP rise to 1 month high while Bitcoin falls. Now, Bitcoin isn't falling. The price is just going back and forth, $150. Bitcoin falling, as we all know in this market, is humongous chunks of 300, 500, 1,000 backwards, and usually drops heavy amounts. So anyways, the demand for alternative currencies has seen their performance rise over the last 24 hours despite Bitcoin's failure to take another leg up. It raises the question as whether to the alt season, a period where alternative crypto sees considerable growth regardless of Bitcoin's performance, is finally here. Okay, I'm not going to agree with it, but at the same time, Bitcoin failure to take another leg up, Bitcoin has shown actual stability. That's what these words should say right here. Bitcoin's stability. Bitcoin's not rising, Bitcoin's not falling. And because we've seen some money come into the alternative coins for about 36 hours now, how can you say that it's finally here? I want to make sure that when we look at this, let's go back over here again. In order for this to call this official alt season, where we're sitting at 272, we can't come back to 266, 267, and then rise again. That's not alt season. Alt season is with Bitcoin and everything else. This is just going to keep continuing to rising sideways up. I personally expected Bitcoin to keep doing the same thing with the altcoins lagging behind, right? And so what we've seen here in the last 36 hours is basically an anomaly compared to what we've seen throughout all of 2019. So to actually say alt season is finally here, I completely disagree with that. Again, that's just my own one person's opinion. We'll have to wait and see what the next pullback in the market does. And if it's all altcoins, then it was just another prop up by the profit takers putting money back in to lure new people in, and then they'll cycle them out, because that's what they've been doing the whole year. Put a little bit back in, make it look good, and then they completely hammer and cycle people right out. So let's keep going on here. Now we are over at decrypt.co. North Korea to launch its own crypto. Upcoming conference aims to advance plans for North Korean crypto, a government spokesman says. Nice little article to come over and read. We don't want to go through the whole bunch here. Unlike China and Venezuela, excuse me, North Korea is not seeking to digitize its existent fiat currency. The point for the country in Europe organized North Korea's first two crypto events. Oh, my apologies. They're just giving the credentials for the guys here. But what they're trying to do is they're not trying to treat it in the way that some of the other countries are doing it. They want it backed by something else so that they can start avoiding all of these ridiculous UN sanctions that we're going for. So regardless if it's good news or bad news, it's still news. It's still blockchain news. It's still Bitcoin crypto news. So that's what I love about it. If you're going back in October of 2017 and you put up an article like North Korea getting ready to open up a cryptocurrency, would have been scoffed at, right? And then you look at Venezuela doing it. And other Iran. There's so many countries that are doing this now in order to avoid ridiculous U.S. sanctions and the U.S. Dollar. It's what we've talked about for so long. It might take a little bit longer than the anticipated 3-year mark that I put on it, but you know what? You can see it now, and actual governments are coming out and talking about it rather than some guy on YouTube in 2017 or 18 talking about just ridiculous stuff. Right now we're seeing the real world applications, and that's what I've always said as being a long-term guy. It doesn't matter right now. To me, the price right now doesn't matter. It didn't matter when I started investing in early 2018. To me, the price of everything I start to pay attention to in the summer of 2020 after the Bitcoin halving. So all right, so now that we've got some money in the market, you know what, we've got one more article, and then we'll talk about the money that's coming into the market. This one over here is at livebitcoinnews.com, and this is just from a little while ago. Van Eck Solid X disables their ETF application early. This is absolutely as bizarre as it possibly get. All right, so we'll just go through some of this, and then you're going to have to come read some. Well, here's a real downer. If you had high hopes for the possibility of a Bitcoin exchange traded fund ETF finally getting approved this October, you can douse those hopes in gasoline and set them on fire. Why? Not because the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, has decided against it, not because of any delays, but because the instigators of the ETF proposal, Van Eck, CBOE, SolidX themselves, withdrew it on their own terms without giving any answers and next to no statements. So we'll read a couple of the things down here, then you can come check it out. We strongly believe the marketplace and many investors would be better served to have a regulated product out there, and this is just one small step towards that. And right now it happens to be only available to institutions. Are they still committed to an ETF? We are committed to supporting Bitcoin and Bitcoin-focused financial innovation. Bringing to market a physical, liquid, and insured ETF remains a top priority. We continue to work closely with regulators and market participants to get one step closer every day. I don't know why you failed at this so many times and then went and got this close, but to me, it's just got to be one of those ones. Something must have happened behind the scenes. We're probably never going to find. We won't find out for a few more weeks, at least a couple of more months, and then something will leak out somewhere. Then we'll find out what really happened here. So again, here's our last article for today over at Cointelegraph.com. And again, the one thing we've always said, when a little bit of money comes into the market, all of these people, I don't care if it's the BitMEX guy, the Binance, I don't care if it's McAfee on Twitter, whenever there's a little bit of money, the predictions are always coming out and becoming rampant again. Get ready for Bitcoin 20K, says BitMEX CEO as Fed panic prints 53 billion. Bitcoin could soon shoot to 20,000 as a result of emergency measures from the United States Federal Reserve, also known as the Fed, one of the industry's biggest firms, he said. Fed echoes 2008 crisis moves. Okay, so this is what, I did a video on this probably 3 weeks ago talking about the layout of basically what's happening in the world right now with certain countries, and there's just a lot of people, a lot of countries are really on the bubble right now. So when we look at these articles, please take them with a grain of salt. Just because the guy's the CEO of BitMEX, I mean, you can't believe anything because, of course, including myself with everybody else in the world, nobody's ever been right about the predictive prices of Bitcoin. Nobody's ever been right about anything in the market. And honest to God, the closest that anybody's come is what we're seeing right here. And because you can go back and you can time check me, you can fact check me and the whole bit. I have said for 9 months straight that after September long weekend, the market will completely turn around and we will see sideways up for at least 3 years, and January of 2020 will be the real serious push. So what I said is what we're seeing right now. Let's hope it stays that way, and each little pullback does not break the previous lines of support. So right now we'd have to say the next line of support probably in about that 268 to 270 range right there. So when they do decide to take their profit out, hopefully we don't dump below 268. We stop right there and we go right back up to say 274, 275, so on and so on. Go back to our Bitcoin price over here, sitting at just about $10,200. Again, to me, when you're looking at this chart, it looks a little wonky, but when you look at the prices down here from 150 up to basically 250, that's only $100 back and forth right now. So again, you want to be safe, be comfortable with the decisions that you're going out there and making. You're the one that's working to put the money back into this market, right? So let's just hope that the money that we're seeing right now isn't the profit guys from the last 18 months or so propping up certain things in order to cycle out more people. Again, so if they do take some money out, we don't want it to see it drop below that 268 mark, and we want to see it stop there and then bounce all the way back. As we can see live, the Bitcoin price literally just dropped almost $20 right there. So very, very, very weird to see, but you know what? Let's just hope everything keeps going sideways up, and that's all we're going to have for you guys today. It's 88 Fantastic, showing you how to take a bite out of the cryptocurrency market. Take care, y'all.